Hello, everybody. Welcome to ASEA 5, Redox 5. We actually have 8 in the house tonight, and we've got an exciting evening for us. This is our nurses' night. My name is Dr. Lee Osler. I practice dentistry in the state of Washington in the USA. As you come in tonight, please indicate in the chat room that is now open where you're coming from. And we'll wait for that to fill up for just a minute or two. And while we're doing that, I'll introduce Jim and Ann Glenn. We're our co-hosts tonight, anchoring us from San Antonio, Texas. We have, we do this nurses night out, I guess we could call it, every few months. And this is an incredible program and an incredible lineup of wonderful nurses. These are the frontline heroes, in my view. In fact, Suzanne, could you give us your superwoman, super nurse shirt? There we go.
Love it.
There we go. This is the RN night, and these are super nurses. We're going to start here in just a moment, but as we do, what we're going to do, rather than belabor long introductions, is we're just going to go kind of round robin through the list and have them take a minute or two and introduce themselves and where they're located and kind of what their nursing specialty is, and then we'll come back and we'll start to hear more about their story. Amy, could we start with you? And
Lee.
Yes.
Hey Lee, real quick, why don't you go ahead and just go and get the disclaimer in the beginning?
We can do that. We'll get this out of the way, as they say.
Yeah.
We are representing, we are a group of independent associates representing a company called ASEA. For those of you who are new or watching this for the first time, we do not make any claims. This is a supplement product. We do not make any claims to treat, diagnose, or cure. And as such, we'll say that at that front here, and maybe have to restate that as we go through here, as we remain in compliance. But we thank you for joining with us. Amy, go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Hey, ASEA family. My name is Amy Stacy, and I have been with Redox and our wonderful company. I'm really getting good at that for 12 years. And I've been a registered nurse for 38. And I started actually my career as an oncology nurse. And the beginning of my career, I actually worked at the NIH in Bethesda, Maryland, the National Institutes of Health in cancer research, and got married. Things changed, came back home, and I decided that my calling was hospice and palliative care. So that's what I've done a bulk of my career. And I absolutely love being a nurse. And what I love the best about being a nurse in our company and sharing and educating about Redox is sharing and educating about Redox. So it's the best of both worlds. But thank you for having me, Lee and Jim and Ann.
Yes.
You bet. Thanks.
Glad you shared a few things I didn't know about you. That's awesome.
Doria, how about you?
Yes, so I come from the great state of Georgia. I have been a nurse going on 42 years this coming October. So I have been in psychiatry. That was my first round in nursing. I've done medical, I've done surgical, and I'm still currently working as a nurse because I love nursing. I'm 66 years old. I work as a recovery room nurse in a gastroenterology clinic. And I've been with this great family of ASEA. It's a wonderful culture, great people to be around, and I've been here for 4 years.
Great.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Doria. Suzanne?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for having me again this year for Nurses Night Out. I love this. I have been in nursing for exactly 40 years last month. And I have done so many things here in this world famous Houston Medical Center. People come from all over the world to come to Houston for transplants, for treatment when their cells go rogue in their body. And it's also one of the largest VA hospitals is here in Houston. And I've been a part of all of those hospitals. I also opened the first, speaking of epidemics, there was an epidemic in the 90s, in the early 90s, that many people had kind of forgotten about. And there were special hospitals open for that pandemic also. And so I opened that first hospital here in Houston, Texas. So thank you so much again for the opportunity to be on this call.
Wow.
Super.
Awesome. Thank you.
you.
Miss
Yeah.
Nelda.
Yes, okay. Well, I'm Nelda Castillo from Lubbock, Texas. I've been a registered nurse for 28 years, and I stumbled across Redox. But my past history in nursing, I've worked in med-surg, NICU, ER, home health, and hospice, just across the spectrum, just about all of that. And so that has been my passion. But now, once I stumbled across Redox, that's really become my deepest passion.
And where do you live, Nelda?
Lubbock, Texas.
Oh, you just said Lubbock? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's right.
And our newbie, Miss Donna Kelly.
Hi.
Welcome to the group.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm feel like I'm in great company here. We're all these experienced nurses. I've been an RN for 42 years. My background is OB. I started out as a labor and delivery nurse and then started the first high-risk OB service in Odessa in 93. So I've been associated with maternal fetal medicine now for quite a while in various roles. So now I have not done direct patient care in a while. I missed that part. I've been administrative for a good while, but I met Anne through a friend of mine in Kerrville and got connected to ASEA and have just really been very grateful. I've been impressed by what I'm seeing and the results that people are getting, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be a part of tonight. Thank you very much.
So glad
Absolutely.
you're here.
Lee, do you want to kind of go? Where are we going to go now? I was going to have them do their stories.
Yeah, let's go back, and now that we've been introduced to them individually, let's have them each kind of tell their ASEA Redox story and what is it that caused them to take such a serious look at this. And I guess I would pointedly have you make some comments along the way with regards to why should nurses, speak to the nurses watching specifically. There's other allied healthcare workers also, but you folks are on the front line. Why should nurses pay attention to what we're talking about tonight, this health modality? Let's go back in the same order and so that we know the running over here, and start with Amy.
Yeah, great, Lee. Thank you. So I've been with the company of ASEA since 2011. So it's been 12 years. I was introduced to Redox by Dr. David Silverman. I had worked with David in another network marketing company back in the mid-90s. And I hadn't heard from David in a while. Many of you know this funny story. Hadn't worked with him or talked to him in a long time. And he calls me out of the blue. And it'd been over 10 years. So I wasn't very nice to him because I figured he was prospecting me. And I said, why are you calling me? I haven't talked to you in 10 years. And whatever you're selling me, I'm not interested. I didn't even know what he was going to tell me. Little did he know that 2 days prior to calling me, I had been given a very bad news about my health. And as a hospice and palliative care nurse, it was a pretty scary finding, if you will. So he went on to share with me how he learned about Redox and how he used his dad as a guinea pig. And that's when he got my attention. So I made it very clear to David that I wasn't interested in the business, but that I was definitely willing to give it a try. Didn't really have a lot of faith in it because it was saltwater, but I was definitely willing to give it a try. So long story short, 6 months later, I went back to my doctor and had some tests done, and he discharged me from his care. So needless to say, I fell into the business, and I think I signed up 40 people in 30 days. And I don't know if anybody else has done that, but I'm crazy. Once I find something I like, I can't shut up. So, but as far as your comment, Lee, about nursing, what I love about nursing and ASEA is, and I think all the wonderful nurses on our panel would agree, it's kind of cool because in nursing, you have to have a skill set, health assessment skills, and you have to know what questions to ask people, because if you don't ask questions, you're not going to get any answers, right? So you have to know what questions to ask, and then, do a mini health assessment, and then, ask them if they're open to trying something that's all natural and is really helped a lot of people, including animals. So that's my story.
Hey, real quick, Amy, how much were you drinking in the beginning, or were you like a lot of the folks early on, just doing the 2 and 2, 2 ounces twice a day?
I did the 2 and 2 for a week, as I usually recommend to people to make sure, they tolerate it. Then I went up to 8, then I went up to 16, and then I went up to a bottle.
Okay. Oh, wow.
The bottle was only for a period of time.
About 6 months.
Okay. Wow.
And now I drink 16 ounces just because I want
And
to.
because because it's non-toxic, there's no reason to not try it when you're in a crisis need. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, you mentioned tolerate it. Could you please touch on that real quick? Because some people may think that, well, what do you mean? Because it can't hurt anything, non-toxic. So could you
Absolutely.
please, I know what you mean by that, but can you dig into that?
Absolutely.
They're brand
Well,
new.
I don't know if I'm like the oldest person with the company on this panel, but when I first got
A lot older than you. I think Lee's a lot older than you.
Oh, Lee, have you been with them more than 12 years?
Oh, no, not that.
I thought you meant
age-wise.
age.
Hey, didn't you know I'm 80? Don't I look it? No, I'm just
Yeah,
You
right.
started really young.
Exactly. No, what I mean by tolerate, that's a great question, Jim. So back when I got with the company, we had very limited resources, tools, that kind of thing. We basically did free conference call and the charge up call. But when I first got in, what we called detox, what we call detox today, we called it a healing crisis.
Right.
Okay. And which we don't ever use that word anymore, which I think is interesting, but detox will work too. So when I say tolerate, some people have a really strong detox reaction. Which means their body is screaming for more redox, but we just have to kind of take it slow. And I've actually worked with some people that have such a severe detox. Not everybody, very few people have a severe detox. But if they do, I have them just spray their wrists with the redox, with the liquid. Okay. I mean, they can't even take a half an ounce before, they have burning or nausea or diarrhea. So some people have to start really, really slow. So I always tell everybody to start off at 2 and 2.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Cool.
And it doesn't last long. And then adding it, making sure you have plenty of regular water every day will aid. I mean, detox is good for you, just like you can get it from exercise or from even in the sun. So it's a good thing. It's just sometimes you have to get through that couple weeks or whatever.
I had a gentleman, real quick, I had a gentleman start a couple of days ago, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, Jim, the first night I had diarrhea." And I go, "Oh my gosh, that's a good thing."
Exactly. That's a good sign, right?
What? I go, "Yeah, that's it's working now." So
It's getting out.
yeah, instead of quitting, "Oh my gosh, it's making me sick." No, it's doing what it's supposed to
Just
do.
push through it. And you were going to comment one more time there?
No,
Amy?
detox is a good thing, but I want to reassure everybody on this call, if this is the first time you're learning about it, it can't hurt you. It is native to your body, which means your body already produces redox. We just don't produce enough as we get older, or if we have some health challenges and we're a little compromised. So, but I just want to reassure you that it cannot hurt you.
Yeah,
That's right.
so speak to the other either nurses and or just medical people in general. There's a lot of others that are in your field expanding, but how would you speak to them why they should look at this?
It's a breakthrough technology. And, the thing is in healthcare, I mean, you guys know there's robots doing surgery now, right? that didn't happen when I went to nursing school. So,
Right.
you know, it's changes in medicine are constant. And I approach this as a technology, that it's a breakthrough technology. And most people say, I've never heard of it. And I say, well, you know, would you like for me to educate you about it? And I tell them my story, because your story is your brand in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that usually opens a lot of people's eyes. And but yeah, no,
Cool.
I have a lot of healthcare professionals in my organization.
Awesome.
Super. Well, Doria, how
Yeah.
did you start out with your
Your ASEA
Yeah.
story, and then we'll kind of go down from there.
why nurses would want to consider sharing
Yes.
this?
So for me personally, this was brought to me by a very good friend. He's a dentist here in Georgia. He's actually a very good friend of Dr. Lee's as well. And he shared this with me. At first, I didn't quite understand it. I was intrigued with it. And when I listened to, you know, what it was, I realized, you know, it's non-toxic, works at the cellular level. But I thought, you know, I don't really see any need for this for myself, because I don't deal with any health challenges, nor am I taking any medications. But, you know, as I looked into it, I looked at PubMed. I just, you know, went to different areas to kind of just, you know, see what this does for people. I do have my parents, especially my mom, she had bad cells over the breast and died from that. And my father died from heart issues. So I know that this is not, you know, we're not to say that this treats or prevents any medical condition, but I wanted my body to be at optimal levels. So I am a health advocate. I'm all about health promotion. I'm open to all kinds of alternative, like oils and chiropractor care and massage. So I said, you know, it wouldn't hurt for me to, you know, go ahead and experience this. So I think I was deceiving myself, you know, as a nurse for 42 years, working 12-hour shifts, you know, on the floor, because I was a bedside nurse. So I'm out there in the trenches. And I think I was just compensating or just living with discomfort, thinking, oh, this is just part of aging. This is the battle scars of me working on the floor. And, you know, you just kind of live with it. So the beautiful thing is when I started on this product, within 3 days, I slept for the first time 8 hours through the night. Hadn't done that in like 40 years. All my discomfort in my joints, my feet, everything dissipated within 30 days. I was just blown away. I had more agility. I had greater endurance. Of course, great energy. I could work my 12 hours, you know, shifts back to back and not be tired, because when I did that before, I would be working and I'd have to take a whole 12 hours to, you know, to recover. So that's what it did for me. And I will always be on this product, you know, for the rest of my life. I take 8 ounces every day. Some days I take more, depending on what's going on in my life. I still currently work as a nurse. And so it's more, I'm on my feet more again. And so it's a great, you know, a great technology. It's helped me a lot. So as far as addressing for nurses, a lot of nurses are skeptical. You know, if they're not open to alternative, and some nurses are and some nurses are not, but we are advocates. Like I said, we're educators. And like Amy said, there's always new technologies. So if you talk to nurses that are open, you know, and you tell them this is non-toxic and it works at the cellular level, then they may be more open to listening to you. But I just say this is making I don't have a story like a lot of you guys have as far as health challenges, but there are a lot of nurses out there that were dealing with things just like myself. So it makes a difference. I think as nurses, we want to do everything we possibly can for our patients. And we'll find, you know, we educate them on diet and exercise and, you know, and taking supplements. And so this is just another way that we can introduce this to them. And this is another tool that they can put in their toolbox to share that with them.
Okay,
Yeah.
real quick, Doria, you said 2 things. I want you to dig a little bit deeper. Please educate people on PubMed. I think everyone in the medical world knows what that is. But then number 2, you said you had your result in 30 days, but yet some people take a lot longer. I've got my best friend's son. He's been on it for 9 years, and he's not complete. He's 95%. Now, he had a real serious viral attack that made him paralyzed above his waist. But could you kind of dig into that a little bit again, PubMed, and then the 30-day, why it took you that long? Some take a lot longer.
Yeah. So Amy alluded to, she worked for NIH, and NIH is National Institute of Health, which is PubMed. And so it's actually a peer review articles written more for physicians, to dig more deeper into the science. So you can actually go into PubMed and put redox signaling molecules in any health condition. And there's, I think when I first started with the SIA 4 years ago, I think there was like 16,000 articles. And now I think there's over, 60,000 articles on redox. So it's just it's another resource that we can, point people to. And since nurses know about that, that's something that they identify with. As far as the length of time, everyone's different, this is a natural biological process that happens in our cells every day. So, people say, well, I don't feel anything. Well, you don't feel, things that are happening, naturally occurring in your body every day, like your blood running through your veins. You're not going to feel that, or you may not feel the air exchanging in your lungs. But it is working, I just tell people to be patient with it, up their dose if they need to get the result that they want. It's been 4 yeyears, and like in the last year, I noticed that I realized I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, headache. I haven't had a headache in 4 years, or I don't have any problems with my sinuses anymore. So every, it's been 4 years, and I find these little things, that are occurring that I don't even deal with at all. So I would tell people to be patient with it. Just like Amy says, as we age, we lose a percentage of these molecules every year. Stress, poor diet, environmental factors cause a deficiency in these. So it's a way that we can supplement our bodies with the molecules to live, that have optimal health.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I think, like Dr. Gardner says, if you're healthy, this is going to make you healthier. So somebody who's on paper considered healthy, why wouldn't we want to keep the very best quality of life? Especially being a nurse, you want to be the best caretakers. So you want to stay well. If you, want to have the best eyesight or better eyesight, and that changes with age, why not do this so you can be kind of ready for the years to come and maybe not struggle like some do that don't choose to do it. So good points you made. Thanks,
Suzanne. Your story, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doria.
So we were introduced to ASEA about 7.5 years ago by Chris and Rhonda Gullo, who we had already been friends with for about 22 years. And so, we totally trusted them. But when they brought it to us, we really did think, what is this? And that was still when a lot of people thought this was salt water from Salt Lake City, Yeah. But Chris knew that I was super passionate about helping people. And so he knew that I would be interested in learning about it. So that was our introduction. And not too many months after that, I had to have extensive dental surgery. That was a 4-hour surgery. And afterwards, instead of taking a heavy pain medication, I rinsed my mouth with the ASEA instead of that nasty stuff that some dentist offices give you. Sorry, Dr. Osler. And that tastes awful. I used the ASEA, and when I came back a week later, my oral surgeon said, I've never seen anyone's mouth heal like yours did. And he asked me what I did, and I said, you wouldn't listen anyway. And so then I came back another week later, and as sometimes when you have a tooth extracted, it literally left a hole in my head. That expression about, you must have a hole in your head. Well, I did. And so the oral surgeon wanted to do a graft. So they could go ahead with the rest of the procedure. And I said, no, give me another week. I'm going to see if I can heal this myself. And with the ASEA and continuing to swish it in my mouth several times a day, when I came back in 2 weeks, it had healed. So I was super impressed with that. And then a few months after that, my husband started having cardiac issues. And that was in 2017, in October. His aortic valve basically just stopped working. And so we knew in about a month he was going to have surgery, because the surgeon that they wanted to do it, that was trained by Dr. DeBakey, the world famous Dr. DeBakey here at the medical center, was going to be out of town for a full month. So when we were doing all the pre-op work for my husband, we found out that his carotid arteries were about 90% blocked. And so the surgeon said, listen, we don't know how well this surgery is going to go. You need to get your life in order. You need to get all your paperwork in order, because we don't know what the outcomes are going to be. So Pat and I started talking about it, and we decided that he should take a bottle of ASEA a day. So we had almost exactly a month for him to take a bottle a day. So the day before the surgery, we went in for our pre-op, and all of his arteries were cleared in a month from taking a bottle of ASEA a day. And they had also said that he was going to come home with a pacemaker and on 15 medications. And that was if he made it through the surgery. So the day of the surgery came, 8 hours later, the physician came out and told me, he said, I don't know what has happened, but your husband's heart was so strong. We didn't have to put in a pacemaker. And so he was out of the hospital in record time, and he came home on 2 medications, 2. And if he was standing here right now, he would show you his non-scar that he has on his chest. You know, most people, after they have open heart surgery, they have a surgical scar from here to down there. He doesn't have one at all, not at all. I started spraying his chest with ASEA. And also, while he was in CCU, every time I got to go in there every 2 hours, he got a pouch of ASEA. And so he was, like I said, he healed so beautifully. It was profound, just profound. And that's the basis for our passion of sharing ASEA with everybody.
Lee, go ahead and throw in another disclaimer, unless Suzanne, you want to do it real quick.
We don't use the word heal. Our body, I provided in that way. I provided enough redox to his body so that it got the message so it could heal itself with the additional redox, because that's what they do.
Okay.
That's right.
Lee, you want to add to that, or no, we good?
Yeah, I would just emphasize that the point is we're awakening the inner doctor, is the phrase I like to use. We're turning on the body's capability to renew and repair. And when those are in full swing, then marvelous things can happen. So I echo again what Suzanne just said, that we, even though this is an incredible story, we don't make claims.
To add to that too, it's pouring down rain here and it's echoing in my ear. It's so loud because I'm in an RV and it kind of echoes. So I'm sorry for talking over you. But, you know, I think one of the things that we don't talk about a lot is we forget to use that word messaging. You know, it is renewing. But I think one of the, especially when it comes to the messages in the body, that it's the message of repair, right? And especially when you're talking about cardiac things, it's the message, right? It's the messaging part is so important.
Agreed.
It's like when somebody's had an accident in their brain, right? And now their finger won't move.
Right.
It's the messaging that the increased redox provides.
Okay, real quick, before we go to Miss Nelda, And Donna, you talked about the salt water thing. I talk about that a lot because a lot of times people will listen to this and go to Google.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Could you kind of address how you dealt with the saltwater thing?
Well, at that time, we used to talk all the time about if you go to the grocery store and you want to get your son a birthday cake, and you go to the aisle and you buy a box of Betty Crocker Duncan Hines cake mix, right? And then you look in the box and you go, there's no birthday cake in here. It's the ingredients of the birthday cake, right? Right? But then it changes. And so, yes, the ingredients of the redox molecules is salt and water, but it's put through a process that changes it so that what you have is trillions of redox molecules that are exact same thing that come from our body that's made from what? Normal saline. Those little
Right.
sacs of normal saline. So that's
Cool.
how.
Speak to the other medical professionals out there, please.
Well, as Amy said a minute ago, there is so much breakthrough going on now in the medical arena. For y'all that don't know it, my husband and I also own a mobile X-ray company. So there are many, many things changing in that industry that if y'all aren't aware of it, it's going to blow your socks off. Okay. So there are a lot of people that are being outsourced, such as nurses, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for people who have medical degrees to find entrepreneurial ways to share this technology and create business opportunity for other people who are also looking at non-traditional ways for financial security for their family.
Cool.
Making a living while making a difference.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm so glad you shared that story
Yeah.
about your husband. I've heard it before, but having these other points you made, it is amazing how the body can repair on its own when it's given the right modalities. You know, this is just a bio replenisher, or like Maureen calls it, biohack. So thanks so much. Nelda,
Yes.
share with us.
Okay, so being in Lubbock, Texas, I was off a couple of days and I had met a lady. So I just went back to thank her because we really connected. She was amazing. I went back to see her. She wasn't there, left a message on the door and said, I'm going to be out a few weeks. And I thought, I'm just going to call her because she didn't leave a date on that note. So I called her and so I just said, hey, Lynn, is this a good time? She said, yes, I'm being discharged from the hospital and I'm in excruciating discomfort and there's nothing else they can do for me. My body has shut down. And so I just thought, you know what? I know of someone I can refer you to. Go see him, see what he says. So she went to see him. And on that day, I knew she was going. I called her up and I said, what did the doctor say? And she said, my inflammatory markers were very elevated. She had a history of inflammation for years and years and years. So when she had her knee replacement, which honestly, she did not look like she was in any kind of health challenge. So when she had the knee replacement, it was inflammation on top of inflammation and it shut the body down. She could not even get out of her chair and perform her daily activities. And so I said, well, what did he say? What did the physician say? And she said, well, he told me to start taking something in a blue bottle. And I just said, spell it for me. I was on the phone and like, spell it for me. I need to write that down. I need to know. And she spelled it for me. And I thought, ASEA, what is that? And she didn't know. She said, well, it says Redox Signaling Molecules. So we both began to drink it. Her body had shut down. I mean, totally. And she said, my sister is threatening to shut my business down. Well, that was their livelihood. That's the bread and butter for her and her husband. So we both began to drink the product. And she said, this is what I do. And she would just get a little cup and she would just take 2 ounces. And then later in the day, she'd take 2 more ounces. Well, I started doing the same thing. And so once we started doing that, I saw changes in her. She started getting her life back. And then me, I started seeing energy, endurance, mental focus. I was working 84 hours a week at that time as a nurse, and I just really wanted energy and endurance. And it gave me that. But things just got better and better and better. So once I did that, I attended a Lubbock workshop I sat on the front row, and there was this fabulous guy that had come in. He rode into Lubbock, Texas, and his name was Leland Duck. I heard his testimonial, and I was blown away. I was blown away to the core. And so after that workshop, I just walked to the front of the room and I said, Leland, I can do this. I didn't know what this was. I had no idea what I was even talking about. I just thought, I can do this. So he invited me to attend a workshop in Frisco, Texas. I attended, I committed to going, and I did. And when I got there, guys, the doors were closed. There were so many people waiting outside. There was so much excitement. And I always say this because it's exactly what it feels like. Whenever I would go to an annual Dillard's after Christmas sale, the excitement of people just, back to back, shoulder to shoulder, ready to get in because they want to get the best buys for the day. Well, this day, the doors were closed, people were there, and I thought, I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew that when the doors opened, I'd be able to grab a seat. So I did, went to the front row. And then what I experienced from there was phenomenal. I heard all these testimonials. There was these great people. They were just speaking about how this product had changed their lives. And they said, what's your story? And I said, I don't have a story. Mine was more, I was doing it for preventive measures because I had seen my new friend, her body had shut down. Me being a nurse, I know we all have inflammation. So I was on a quest for knowledge. And that's really what happened. I met a lot of great people. I connected to our morning team call. That's where I found out about it. But I met some of the best people ever in my life. And they have just become some of my best friends, best mentors, leaders. That was phenomenal. So I came back, and on the drive back, God really convicted me. And he said, why are you not sharing it? And I thought, I just really wanted energy and endurance. But when I saw those testimonials, I came back, and I had already shared a little bit. I had shared with a few friends, different people. And so I had become a Director 700 just sharing. But then I called Leland, he's my business partner. And I said, Leland, why am I not, moving up? Why am I not building my team? What's going on? And he said, well, we had come to Jesus talk. That's what happened. And he said, well, we use the tools. And I started using the tools. But the main thing was I just started sharing with people because I knew then the magnificent company that I was a part of, monumental, the integrity, the culture. You could just tell by the people in that room, there was something really special. Not only did they look younger, but they were some of the finest people, and they were willing just to take you in and just show you, what direction to go in. So that's really what happened. Met Leland and started working with him, started sharing. And then I had no idea that this was going to allow me to build a residual income. I really wasn't looking for that. I just wanted energy and endurance, and it gave me energy, endurance, mental focus, more flexibility, better sleep, no more discomfort that I had all over that the ER docs never even would say it could be inflammation. Nobody talked about it. But as nurses, we work so many hours, so many people in the medical field, but not just the medical field. We all work really, really hard, our families, all of our loved ones. And there's a lot of oxidative stress. And that oxidative stress becomes like rust in the body. And then we get symptoms of aging. And I really thought I was just like, okay, you're going through some discomfort. It's probably just the aging process. So you kind of just suck it up and keep going. And that's what you do. You get up in the morning and you do what you're supposed to do. And I was doing that. But when I started taking Redox, I started feeling so much better. The energy levels went up. Everything just got better. And that's, I started sharing. So that's, to me, it's been magnificent, but attending events and then just speaking from your heart and sharing, because we have something that nobody else has, redox signaling molecules. Healing begins at the cellular level. So what I would say to anybody in the medical field or just anybody that's on the call tonight, nurses, yes, I'll speak with you because you know what? This is a category creator. It is a disruptive technology. It is a biohack. I'm telling you, I did not know when I found this product. I was a nurse at that time, 23 to 24 years, that redox signaling molecules, you can rub it on with a gel, you can drink it, and it starts detecting. The molecules are so tiny, they cross the blood-brain barrier. And then they start detecting anything that's abnormal in your cells. And let's say you have a bad cell here and a good cell here. It's going to try to restore that bad cell. And if it cannot, it's going to get rid of it and give you a brand new one. So I love that part. I did not know redox signaling molecules was even a thing when I stumbled across it. But once I started taking it, I started seeing changes in me and my friend. But remember, this is not a treatment or a cure, but the body was made to heal itself. So when it starts the cellular communication, that's when the body will heal itself. So I love that because once you put it into the body, it's absorbed. It's best absorbed in the mouth. That's why you switch it for 30 seconds. It's absorbed, it goes in and starts detecting like what I just described. So to me, when that happens, it opens up a cascade of events. And it's like a domino effect going to each of your cells and starting to go to the genetic pathways. And that's not all that it does. It goes to 5 genetic pathways. You know, it decreases your inflammation, improves your immunity, cardiovascular health, hormonal, all just 5 different places. But here's the deal. Not only does it open up to those genetic pathways, it goes even deeper. And that's where Dr. Fossler says, that's the inner doctor. It just keeps going and going and going. And you know what? I always say, thank God, I don't know what redox signaling molecules has prevented me from having. It's done a lot of great things for me and my family. I love that part. But you as a nurse, you need to know about this product because, you know, we are used to Western medicine, and Western medicine does not go to the root of the problem. We as nurses, we follow doctor's orders. We open up the chart, you read what the doctor says, and that's what we do, and that's what we prescribe. And the patients, they go and get that medication. You know, you talk to them about the side effects. This does not have the side effects that hurt the liver or the kidneys. And so I love that part because, like we said, you cannot, there's no way you can overdose with this product. The only way that you can overdose is if you're in a bathtub full of redox signaling molecules, because it's not going to hurt you. It is native. It's the same molecular structure that is already in your cells. And what would it look like when you wake up in the morning and you have more energy, endurance, mental focus, more flexibility, no more discomfort or less discomfort, and you're better sleep? I mean, there's so many things, and those are just a few of the things, but they're very powerful. To me, I would say it's a vehicle for health and wealth. That's what it's done for me. I love sharing with people, but on the cellular level, you cannot find another product like this. I mean, there's very few, but what I also love is this. This is one of the top 5 sciences that is really helping us in our bodies. They compare it to DNA and penicillin, but I believe it's better than that because penicillin has side effects. This does not. So the same molecular structure. So you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. The vehicle for health and wealth. Yes, you're still working and you're going to be doing that, but guess what? That oxidative stress is really hurting your body. And it's not when it happens. It's not if it's going to happen. It's when your body shuts down. If we don't have redox signaling molecules, we don't have life. Because if you're 50 years old, you've lost about 50% of the redox signaling molecules. We start losing the cellular communication at puberty. And so every decade we lose 10%. So to me, that was huge. And so to me, as a registered nurse, I just think I'm so blessed to know about this product. Yes, I'm very passionate about nursing, but guess what? Like Doria said earlier, you know, the impact that we have as nurses when you can share redox signaling molecules and you can change lives, and you know that you did, lives that you don't even know who they are right now, but because you shared with one of your loved ones or your friends or your neighbor or someone that you just met, and then I didn't know they had an issue, and then they get to better their life and they get to stay with their loved ones longer or just participate in life. That's huge for me. So I would say, don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's something you want to know. You want to have it in your toolbox. You want to take it every day. You can take these to work, 8-ounce pouches. You can get our gel. I just apply it. Gives you core strength flexibility. It's so much. 3 times in 5 minutes we apply it. Decreases our discomfort. So there's just so many things that it does, but I would say just don't miss it. Go to pubmed.gov, like Doria said. That's where you want to go. Type in redox signaling molecules. We can invite you to Healthy Cell. There's a lot of testimonials of people that are on the product and their lives are changing. So that's what I have to say. But don't miss it.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I love the whole detecting and repairing. So here it's going to chase down a fire you may not even know you have. And these amazing molecules are going to work for you. And being that they're native, no one can be allergic to it. And they cannot say that about, like my mom, she passed well before we knew about ASEA, and she was allergic to penicillin. So, we don't have that concern. Now, I did want to segue into Donna because when I got Erin started in Kerrville, it was truly an answer to prayer. It was a God thing that put us together. And then that led to Midland, which we loved going when we've been. And Donna, I loved your story, one of the first meetings, and you were new at it. Maybe you can refresh and for those who haven't heard it, how you saw some changes. You showed me a picture, you saw some changes, and then you said you went to a women's retreat and people were noticing a difference. So maybe you can share in your journey. You've been on it for what's your anniversary date? Like 2 years?
No, I think about a year and a half.
Okay.
I haven't been on very long.
Not quite. Okay.
So, yeah, probably just about a year and a half.
Okay.
So, yeah, Erin had called because you were going to have a meeting here in Midland. And she sent me a text inviting me to this meeting on Saturday. And it was about redox molecules. And I'm like, what is that? And so she sent me a text back, and she is a hairdresser, and she was having so much pain. She was on way too many Advil a day, trying to just get through the day and work. And she's a single woman, and she has to work to eat. And she told me the story of the difference it made in her life. And I wasn't looking for something to do on Saturday. So, but I thought this is interesting. And so I hit PubMed. Everybody's talking about PubMed, and I'm like, I'm going to check this out. And I spent quite a few hours doing research on redox molecules and reading articles and going to I'd just go from one site to another site and really get in there and study. So by the time I hit the door on Saturday, I already knew I was going to take it because I had been having generalized inflammation, some edema and things. And I had 2 rounds of stem cells a couple of years earlier, didn't resolve it. And, as we all know, inflammation leads to bad things. And it was like, I've got to get a control on this. And so we went and I signed up, and I started using the gel on my face. And immediately, because Ann said, use it on your face. So I started using it on my face. And that's before we had, the new skin line. The old skin line was out, but I didn't start on that. I had just started using the gel on my face. And I went to a women's retreat. I don't think I'd used it, but just a few months before that retreat hit. And yeah, within a month, I did those pictures that Ann said to do a picture, then do another one. And so I did that, and I was seeing a difference. And when I went to the retreat, there was a woman there and that had seen me a few months earlier, and she was blown away at the difference. And so she went home and was talking to her husband and said, he said, "Who's that lady in this picture?" And she said, "Well, that's Donna." And it's like, oh my gosh. And he could tell a difference in my face. She's like so much younger. It's like, yes, everybody wants to hear that. So, so she signed up because of me. I mean, just because of my face, I was looking younger. She's like, I want it. So, but, the nice part was I could tell her, I was having issues with, my hands hurting so much in the mornings, and all of this stuff was resolving. And within just a short amount of time, I could see my body responding to this. And one of the stories that for me and I have a very much a holistic attitude and approach to medicine. Back I think all of us that graduated from nursing school way back and, 40 years ago, my oath was, body, soul, and spirit. We're going to take care of our patients' body, soul, and spirit. And unfortunately, medicine, it doesn't have that attitude so much anymore. And I think it's going to have to come back. And so one of the things that I believe, I agree with Nelda, our bodies were designed to heal. We have a creator who made a way for us. If we will provide our bodies with what it needs, our bodies will take over and do the rest. And the redox molecules are a way to equip our body to do what it was naturally designed to do. I believe in prayer. I will never not pray, for healing or whatever to, in lieu of, but I believe that God uses certain things to accomplish what he wants. And that's for us to be healthy. That's his plan for us as well. And so these molecules have been something the Lord used. I have a niece who had a baby who was experiencing such extreme constipation that at a year old, she would just scream. She would scream. And she would bleed for 2 days after a bowel movement. And she had seen pediatric gastroenterologist and was on supplements and fiber and everything they could do. And she put this baby on redox molecules, and within 2 weeks, that baby was having normal bowel movements and was able to get off all supplements, to the point when she would pass gas, she would giggle. She never had not had pain before. It was just amazing watching this baby respond. Well, a short time later, she had another baby. She has two that are 14 months apart. And they saw pediatric cardiac specialist at UT Southwestern in Dallas. She was told that he was going to have to be seen every 3 weeks because the condition was substantial. And so she started using redox with this baby as well. And he went back for a 3-week visit. And in 3 weeks, there was already enough positive change in that heart muscle that the doctor said, you don't have to come back for 2 months. He just finished his first year, and she just saw him, and he's doing so well. He doesn't have to come back for months now. And so the risk factors to that baby just keep dropping. It's just amazing. But for me, my passion in maternal fetal medicine, I wish I was at a research center. I would love to know what would happen if our moms who have babies with cardiac anomalies or any anomalies would take redox during their pregnancy. I would love to see a study on that. If I could have a wish list for medicine, I'd say, let's, somebody out there, anybody who's listening that could do that, could pull it off and manage that. I'm convinced by watching what these molecules have done with my niece's son and daughter. I think that we have the potential to see some amazing things happen. So
yeah. I want to get Dr. Osler real quick to go ahead and maybe comment on why that probably never will happen. Dr. Osler, can you kind of touch on that?
Yeah, this goes back to why we're a supplement, as we outlined at the very beginning.
Right.
The kind of trials that we all love to see, are called random controlled trials, and they set up the stage that this becomes a treatment for specific named disorders, and that becomes regulated. If we were to go do studies like that, which again we would all love to have as validation, the FDA would come in and would probably shut us down, or would really create some heartache for us, because that's a claim and that's a treatment for a specific, issue. And we're just, we're not there. We could do those trials, and I believe we would see positive outcomes, but it would put in jeopardy, just for everybody listening, just so they understand, it would put in jeopardy our standing as a company, and would shut us down, because then they would treat us, we would have to shut down and convert over to be a drug company.
Yeah.
So that's why we're really happy. I think there's a silver lining in this idea, because everything that we've listened to tonight, with all these, dozens of different stories, have to be explained. You can't just, leave it on the surface. And this isn't a kind of a blue bottle on a store shelf that you'll pull off and you go, oh, saline water. I'm sure that could help me. And I'm going to get it because there's no story there. And so one of the sweet things, or the silver is about how we share the story in the first place, is that we share these stories, and we explain our personal experiences, our family experiences with them, and share the tools, and let people kind of do some of their own due diligence, in that regard. But it's most important, and I think every one of you touched on this. I know it happened for me. It was my wife's experience that caused me to seriously take a look at this and do the deep dive, kind of after that. It wasn't the science that convinced me, it was my wife's experience. And once I saw that, witnessed that, understood that, then I had to personally know. And so I'm really, and at first I was quite chagrined at the fact that I couldn't put my hands on the kind of trials that I wanted to be able to prove to people, beyond the shadow of a doubt. But we just have to kind of, resolve in our minds that that's not what this is about. And really, I'm kind of thankful of that. I'd like to make a comment. One of the things that came up earlier, Suzanne touched on it, about this messaging and the signaling, and every one of you have spoken to this in your own experience and telling the stories. It is the signaling. Redox signaling is nature's way of turning on and turning off the DNA. It's how we get gene expression and gene silencing. That's the redox sensitive switches that we've been talking about. Nelda kind of went through that, where when we apply this or consume redox signaling molecules as a supplement, they're rapidly absorbed. They cascade quickly through the body, and they turn on switches, on-off switches, that help the body to become more resilient to stress. And I'm talking about physiological stress, although there's all kinds of stress. And that stress is, scientifically we call it oxidation or oxidative stress, and that's the precursor or the step in front of inflammation. And what happens in the regular medical world out there is they're all preoccupied with inflammation, but they don't recognize that it happened upstream when oxidation and oxidative stress occurred. So I just want to say thank you to, we're sitting here at an hour, and this has gone by so quick, as I knew it would. I want to personally thank each one of you. Someone made the comment earlier, they added up the years. There's like 120 years of
Amazing
experience here that we had the advantage of looking at. And I would just kind of posit to the viewer, these are some sharp women.
Yeah.
You can't pull the wool over these kind of people's eyes. And I think that needs to be acknowledged. And I salute each one of you for bringing to the table, bringing to this conversation years and decades of judgment, of caring, of science, and obviously your experiences, because in the end, that's really what this is about. I salute each one of you. Thank you for your contribution.
Oh yeah, we love y'all. I had two quick comments. I'm thankful that the founders did not let it go to pharmaceutical and let the world know, or we wouldn't be talking together. And then two, when somebody gets on the product, I encourage, and I believe y'all do, I'm sure, when you get people on it, use the tools, as Nelda mentioned, use tools. Redoxguide.com is a great explanation on using these correctly. somebody new might be on, or somebody who's not on it yet might want to consider getting on. And then I use that tracker that's in their box. At first, the box comes in the mail, your UPS driver shows up, you open it, look at that tracker, start using it on a weekly basis. Doria mentioned sleep. Now to mention sleep. Those are the things you'll start seeing change. And then week after week, as you're on it longer, you'll see changes come along. And, 90% see a change in 90 days. So you need to give it time. It's not a magic potion. Jim's wand's over there. It's not like the wand is going to erase it all. Jim brought up our best friend 8 years ago. We just had our anniversary. When he got a change, he saw change at 4 months. He got a shred of hope, and he continued to get better, even though he's not necessarily 100% at 9 years, but he got better at the 4-month mark, continued to get better. He graduated at Baylor. He lives a life in Dallas, and he wouldn't have seen that if they just didn't give these molecules to him. So we're very thankful that we were able to find out about it through their crisis. So thanks again, y'all. We love you. I know Jim's going to add.
No, just this was phenomenal. We love this panel. We're going to continue to use these ladies and maybe add others as well.
Yeah.
Because people love hearing from you guys, you gals. Maybe we need to get a guy nurse here as well. So any guy nurses, reach out to us so we can have a maybe more balanced panel here. But guys, thank you so much.
Who's next week?
Yeah, next week we've got our CEO, Chuck Funky.
Won't that be good?
The thing, as an ex-stockbroker, the thing that I always want, you can have the best product on the planet, but if you don't have the company behind it to keep it going, because too many times companies change and they change the formula, they change this, they change that, or they sell out. When you meet our CEO, Chuck Funky, he's absolutely hilarious and he's a blast. So come back and join us next week with Chuck Funky. And ladies, thank you so much. God bless. This video will be up and available on redoxmatters.com within about an hour and a half.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you.
God bless. Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Nice seeing y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye, y'all.